desktop. It's pretty much the same procedure, but at least it gives you an idea of what to do. So simply go on your web browser, type in Andy's Travel, and you would find it on the web search. Let's tap on that. Now on this web page, it automatically brings up the home page where you would simply press book now. If you wanted to, you could scroll through the site. There's a menu there, prices and services, news updates, social media feed, and you've also got reviews. So if you want to click on reviews, you could go through my Facebook reviews, also Google reviews are all there. But for now, we're on book now. So simply go onto your home page, and it's book now, and press book now. Straight away it brings up a form where you fill in all your details. Now your first box says pick up location, so obviously your home address or wherever you've been picked up. For privacy purposes on this one, I'm not going to put anybody's address in. All I will do there is pick a local supermarket, and now I have tested this and it works, so purely and simple I'm going to use Sainsbury's. But on that, what you would generally do is put your address in. So you put your first 3 or 4 letters in, and generally your postcode, and it should bring it up. It should populate in the drop down. It will start scanning different addresses, and you find the one that you want, obviously. So for this one, I will find Sainsbury's. Now automatically, because I've used it for testing purposes, it's automatically there. So click on that, and as you can see, it's spinning then to find a Sainsbury's. That would be the same with your address. It will find your address for you. Once you're happy with that, you simply press select, and it populates the box for the outbound journey. Then underneath you've got your drop-off location. So again, if you were going on holiday, you would simply put in where you're going to. Again, generally put 3 or 4 letters in, put your postcode in, and it will populate. It will search. Once you're happy with that location, you select that. Now for this, we're going Manchester Airport. Now because I'm doing this all the time, it's basically bringing up loads of Manchester airports there. It's bringing up quite a lot of different airports. I've generally populated it with quite a few airports now, so it's pretty straightforward. So for instance, say you go in East Midlands, you'd simply type in EAS, and it should bring up East Midlands. Liverpool, type in LIV, and it should bring up Liverpool. You would simply scroll down and select the one you want. So for this one, we'll go for Manchester Airport, nice and easy. Click on the one you want, and it automatically populates for you. Underneath, you've got the date that you want to be picked up. So on this one, we'll go for the 30th of January. Once you're happy with your date, if you wanted to change month, you'd simply scroll through like that. So simply scroll through to the date you want. So we'll go for the 30th of January. Once you've picked the date that you want, you simply press set. As you can see, that's now populated that box there. Now underneath, you've got your time. This is the time that you need to be picked up by. So for instance, say we were going to Manchester Airport and you wanted to be at the airport. Say for this, I'm going to say that I want to be at Manchester Airport for 11 o'clock. So what I'm going to select here is the time I want to be picked up from home. It always has to be the time you want to be picked up from home. It's not your flight time. It's the time you want to be picked up from home. So we're going for 11 a.m. drop off at Manchester Airport. So we give ourselves plenty of time. So we book for 10 a.m. So generally, particularly through summertime, I would always advise going Manchester Airport about 4 hours before your flight. So on this one, our flight is 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I want to be there for 11, which is 3 hours before your flight, which is the general advice. It can be a little bit less, but I will leave you to that. But more so in summer, always give yourself plenty of time. So we've put 10 a.m. pickup. Once you're happy with that, you then click on how many passengers you want. So for instance, dead easy to choose. So you would simply press the down arrow there, and for this one we'll select 3 passengers. So that's straightforward. Now as you can see underneath, you've got 2 boxes there. You've got an add stop. So if you'd got 2 addresses you wanted to be picked up from, so say you were being picked up in say Newcastle, and you wanted your friend picked up down the road or a different address, you would simply add stop in there and add the details. For this one, we will leave that blank. Now, next to that, you've got add return journey. Now, if this was a one-way trip, so you were just going to the airport, then you would simply click quote and book. If you're having a return, which most people generally do, you would simply press add return. Add return. Now, underneath it brings up your return booking form. As you can see, that has automatically populated with basically your outgoing booking, but in reverse. So on your outbound journey, we're going from Sainsbury's to Manchester Airport. We put this date in, we put this time we want picked up by. Underneath, it's automatically brought, so you're landing back at Manchester, we're coming back to Sainsbury's, so it's in reverse. All you would need to do then, now, what we'll say is, if obviously you're coming back from a different airport, which sometimes can happen, so say you were going to Manchester but you're coming back to Liverpool, you would simply type in Liverpool Airport in there. Same with your address. If you wanted dropping off at a different address than what we've picked you up from, you would simply type it in that box there. But for now, we're happy with Sainsbury's. Underneath, you will need to change your date, because obviously that's automatically populated either today's date that you're doing the booking or the date you're coming back, the date you're going. So your date there would need to be changed. So you'll put your date in that you're arriving back in the UK. Always be careful on nighttime flights. Sometimes what can happen is people will book nighttime flights thinking that the landing time and get confused that the landing time is actually the takeoff time. Obviously, if it's a nighttime flight that's going past 12 a.m. in the morning, your date will change. So, for instance, say you're taking off on the 5th. By the time you get to Manchester Airport, or any UK airport, if it's a late flight, it will be the following day. So always make sure that you are giving me the landing date there and not the takeoff date. So, for instance, on this one, we're landing on the 6th of February. So once you're happy with the date, and that's the date that you land, you simply press set. Make sure that's populated okay. Now underneath, you will enter your time. Now this time here needs to be the time that your flight lands. Yes, I know it will take a while for you to get your luggage and your cases. However, don't worry about that, because I had that on myself. So always in this box here, if you're coming back from an airport, always put the time that you land. So say Jet2 have said you're landing at Manchester at 10 a.m. in the morning, you will put 10 a.m. Obviously, if it was an holiday resort and you're not coming back from an airport, then you will put the time that you want to be picked up by. But on this one, this is an airport, so always go with the time that they've advised. So again, Jet2 have advised you're landing, your flight will land at 10 a.m. at Manchester Airport. So you would simply put 10 a.m. So that's straightforward again. Again, underneath, you can change the number of passengers. So say 3 of you went out, but only 2 of you coming back, you would simply change the number there. But generally, that's pretty much the same as going out. Once you're happy with that, oh, another thing there, you can add another stop. So say you were coming back and you got 2 stops, you would simply add another stop in there. You simply do that. For now, we'll get rid of that. So again, your form's all right. Once you're happy with that, you would simply press quote and book. Give that a few seconds to just bring up the next form and populate it. Right, it's brought up all your information. Now underneath here, you've got all your information in again. So our outbound journey is from Sainsbury's. Just check everything's correct for you. So plenty of opportunities to change it if you wish to. So you got your pickup from Sainsbury's, you're going to Manchester Airport, you got your date, the time you want to be picked up by, 10 a.m. You've got your return journey, again make certain that's all correct. So we're coming back from Manchester, we're going to Sainsbury's, we've got his date, we've got the time we land, check all that is correct. Now underneath here, you've got a range of vehicles. You can select a saloon, you can select an estate. Eventually, I will populate this with minibus, but at the moment, we've just got the free vehicles to make it easy for educational purposes. So, we've got the saloon there. We've got the estate. Or if you fancy that little bit of extra luxury, perhaps it's a special trip, a wedding trip, honeymoon, or a birthday trip or anniversary, or if you just generally fancy that bit of extra luxury, you have got the choice of the executive underneath. So you can scroll down and choose whichever vehicle you want. So on this one, we'll scroll down. If you're having the saloon, generally I would advise that is generally alright for about 2, possibly 3 cases and a little bit of van luggage. If you've got any more than that, I would always suggest the estate. So estate, if you choose executive, again, that is an estate. So plenty of room. So you choose whichever one you want. As you can see, the executive, you can fit full large cases in. 4 hand luggage, depending on the size of hand luggage. Same with the estate generally. So choose whichever one you want. It will bring up the price underneath. So for instance, Manchester Airport, now it will say there total return price. That is the total price altogether. So for instance, if you were to pick the saloon to Manchester Airport or the estate, then it's £75 each way. So straight away, because you're having a return on this, it's brought up the total price. £75 times twice is £150. Now, as regards payment, you can, there's options as regards payment. You can either pay all in one go, or what most people do is generally pay the £75. If you go to Manchester, they'll pay half going and half coming back. So, for instance, on this, it's £150, so £75 to go. So you can pay the £75 going, and then simply pay the other £75 when we pick you back up from the airport, or you can pay it all up in front. Like I say, it's entirely up to you how you want to do that. So for this one, once you're happy with what your choice is, you simply click on book now. For this, we'll select the estate, the executive. So simply press book now. On your next form, it will again bring up all your details. So again, plenty of opportunities to check and make certain you're happy with everything, or to change anything you want to change on that. So on here, we've got his outbound journey. Again, we'll go through it. Pick up at Sainsbury's, drop off Manchester Airport. Your date and time is correct. Return journey, pick up Manchester Airport, drop off Sainsbury's, date and time is correct. Then underneath it will give you the price of the car that you've chosen and the price. So we chose the executive, so it's brought up the price for that. Now underneath it, this is where you enter your name and your details. So on this one, I will put on the 8th then. The 8th. So that's straightforward. Now underneath here, if you've got an email address, always put it in. For the simple reason that if you've got an email, you will get confirmation straight away of your booking. So for this one, I'll put my email address in. To be fair, it's already there, but simply put your email address in, make certain that's right, and you will get the confirmation. Once you're happy with that, you scroll down and you put your mobile number in. Again, it's populating my mobile number because obviously I'm on the system all the time. So you will put your mobile number in there. Always make certain you enter the correct mobile number. Check it and check it again that you've put the right number in, because we need to be able to speak to you particularly as regards tracking you when you're coming back from the airport. So we need that mobile number filling in. Now underneath here, you've got several boxes. Once you put your mobile number in, as you can see at the top of there, we've got one-way additional information. Now generally, if you were having a return or you were going to the airport and coming back from the airport, you generally wouldn't worry too much about this top box here. However, if you were coming back from the airport, so say you hadn't been taken to the airport, however you were coming back from Manchester Airport or from any UK airport, and we were picking you up from that airport, then I would need you to fill this in. So flight training information, so always put your flight number in that box. So we'll put LS9867. Next to there, you can see a box, arrival from. This needs to be the foreign airport you're travelling back from, or the foreign resort you're travelling back from. So, okay, you've been picked up from Manchester. However, this needs to be, again, the foreign airport. So, say you're coming back from Dalaman to Manchester, you would simply type in Dalaman in that box. Or say you were coming back from Berlin, you would simply type in Berlin. I need them, if it is a pickup from the airport and a one-way back from the airport, you need to fill them boxes in. So for now though, we can clear them because this is a return journey, so I don't need that information on returns. Underneath there, you've got additional notes. So for instance, say you've got any additional requirements, you could fill them in there. Now, because this is a return trip, this is the information that I need you to fill in. Underneath, you see it says there, return additional information. So simply there. Again, you've got the flight, train information, arrival from. Because it's a return, so we're taking you to the airport and we're also bringing you back from the airport. This is the information I need you to fill in. So on the return, under the return additional information, you would simply put your flight number. This is the flight number that you're coming back to the UK in. So it needs to be the returning flight number, not the flight number going out. It must be the return flight number. Pure and simply so that when you land, I can track that plane. Once you take off from, say, Alicante, I can track that flight. But I can only do that, and we can only do that if you put the correct flight number. So it must be the flight number for coming back, the returning flight number. So again, we'll enter a flight number there, 786. So for instance, if it's Jet2, it's generally LS. If it was TUI, you would put Tom followed by numbers. If it's Ryanair, it's generally FR followed by numbers. Always put the full details in there. Now again, opposite that box you've got arrival from. Again, this needs to be your foreign airport. So again, you're coming back from, we're picking you up from Manchester, or say any UK airport. Say you've chosen Liverpool, you put that in there. But however, in the arrival from, it needs to be the foreign airport you're coming back from again. So for instance, on this one, you've gone to Turkey on your holiday, you're coming back from Turkey and you're flying back from Dalaman. So you would simply type in Dalaman. And if you go in Cape Verde, you find airport you're coming back from, Cape Verde via, and you would simply type it in there. Or say you were going to Berlin and you're coming back from Berlin, you would simply type in Berlin. So them two boxes there, flight information underneath the return and arrival from, need to be filled in. Pure and simply so that we can track you. I've had cases where people have given me the wrong flight number. So always make certain you also fill in the correct flight number, make certain it's the one coming back, and also make certain that you fill in arrival from, your city or your holidays resort you're coming back from. Once you're happy that you filled in them correct, you scroll down and you got, again, you can put in any additional notes in there you wish. Now underneath here is where you change how many cases you've got, so additional services. So you click on edit options, and here now you've got an option. If say you wanted a wheelchair, you bring in a wheelchair, you would simply click yes in there. So that's now, you select yes and no, dead easy. For this we don't need one, so we'll select no. If you're bringing child seats and you want us to save them for you, we'd simply put how many child seats you've got in there. So you could select as many as you want. Type that in. Booster seats, exactly the same. Simply put in how many booster seats you've got. Enter that. Luggage, you will put in how many cases you've got. So for this one, we'll select 4. Special luggage, you can also enter there. So once you're happy with that, you scroll down. Now underneath, that's the form for the going out, if it's a one-way trip. If it's a return, you would simply do the same again underneath. So again, you can put your baby seats, booster seats, luggage, again, so we'll put 4. Once you're happy with all that box, you simply press save changes. That will then update. Once you're happy, press next. Just press that. And again, it will bring up all your details. So make certain again, you check all this. So Sainsbury's, Manchester, date, time, return journey, we went through all that. Then underneath it will bring up your price that you've chosen. Number of cases, number of passengers, Underneath that, it will bring up your name, your email, your mobile number, and your return flight number, and the return city you're coming back from, or your return airport you're coming back from. So again, make certain all that is right. Without all that information being correct, we struggle to track you when you're coming back off holiday. So you need to make certain that you check again that that is correct. Underneath, it's got how many passengers. It's got whether you've said you've got baby seats, booster seats. You got your correct amount of luggage for the same coming back. So yeah, 4 cases, 3 passengers. You've got no baby seats on this one. And once you're happy with all that and you've checked everything, you've got the options. You can either pay in car or you can pay by card. Whichever you decide you want to do, you simply click on that option. So on this one, we'll go pay in car. Once you're happy, you would, and it's highlighted, whichever one you choose from, you would simply press confirm booking. So on this one, we're going pay in car. Press confirm booking. It should come up processing. And that will take a couple of seconds generally. And there you are, pretty quick tonight. It's brought up everything straightforward for you. So booking confirmed. It gives you a reference number. Obviously it will come up pending because I haven't put it on the system. Well, it's on the system, but that generally stays as pending until it's all been allocated out and everything. It brings up your price, it brings up your mobile number, it brings up all your trip details again. So your outbound trip, Sainsbury's to Manchester, date and time, your return trip details. So you're coming back from Manchester, going to Sainsbury's, your date, your time, and everything there. Pretty straightforward. And that's pretty much it. So what I will show you though is, as you can see straight away, I have received the email for that. Now this is the email. As you can see, I've got 2 emails there. Just let me get rid of them other things off me bar there. As you can see, it's brought up 2 emails. This is the one you will get as a customer, booking confirmation. So straight away, if you went into that, because I booked it in my name, it's and my details, it's basically sent me the email. So you will get this. Once you booked, you will get confirmation onto your email. So it will bring up your name. Thank you for choosing. Your booking has been successful. And underneath it contains all your booking information. So when you go in, the date that you booked it. So for instance, we booked it this morning on the 22nd. So it brings up the date you booked it, the price, and then it contains outbound trip details. So all your details there. And then your return trip details. So straight away, you've got confirmation there via your email that everything has been booked in. And as you can see, this is the email that will come through to me. So new booking received. So basically that's telling me that you were booked. So for instance, I will click on that. New booking received. And that automatically goes straight into my calendar. So it goes onto the system. So the minute you've booked, that has automatically gone onto my database. It's gone into the system and it's gone onto my calendar. So everything is there. New booking received. Same reference number, the time that you booked, paid to driver, the amount. It's got all your details. So this will be your name, your email, and your phone number. It tells me all your outbound trip details. So again, we booked from Sainsbury's. We're going to Manchester. You got the date, you got the time, and underneath that's your outgoing one. And it says outbound trip details, and then return trip details. Straight away, it's got return trip details. Return Manchester Airport, going to Sainsbury's, your date, your time, you put your flight number in, and you put the bill in. So straight away now, I can track that flight. The minute you land back in the UK, or well, the minute you take off, basically I can track that flight. And therefore I can turn up on time and everything. Without that flight number and without that location, we struggle to track you. So that you need to always put, coming back, you need to put the returning flight number and your returning airport or your returning foreign country you're coming back from. And that's pretty much straightforward. So straightforward enough. However, if you do have any problems, don't hesitate to contact me. Perhaps you're unsure or anything, or you don't like using a PC, simply give me a bell So you can contact me on 07759 735 998. That's 07759 735 998. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. Thanks, bye.